Welcome everybody to The Good and the Bad, a show where we review the action that happened over the weekend and I tell you 5 good things and 5 bad things that I picked up from the games. Obviously, the biggest game from this weekend had to be the Carling Black Label knockout final between Magesi and Mamelodi Sundowns, a game that was won 2-1 by Magesi FC, making Clinton Larson a 2-time winner of this tournament, having also won in 2012 versus Mamelodi Sundowns. He keeps his unbeaten record versus Coach Manqoba intact, and Sundowns loses another final. So let's talk about the good and the bad, starting with the bad.
Number 5.
We've watched Mamelodi Sundowns for weeks now. We've seen the way that they play, where they are strong, what they do well. So I was a little bit surprised in this game to see a couple of things going odd. So we'll talk about Mokwena and Obas. There was no connectivity really between the goalkeeper and the midfield upwards, because when Obas gets the ball or when Mokwena gets the ball, Allende, for some reason, was taking up wider roles to go pick up the balls on the side. And because Allende was so wide most of the times, on the left mostly, it kind of closed up the space for Ureinas. It brought an extra player in because they're following Allende. And it stopped them having that same amount of space that they have usually on the left-hand side of the attack. Then we can talk about Ribeiro, who has been so incredible in the number 10 role. He has been so, he's transcended whatever Sundowns was doing. Ever since moving from the right-hand side of a 3 to coming inside to become the number 10, I think Ribeiro has played his best football. But he also found himself wide right and not as influential from there. You see, Ribeiro, one of the issues with Ribeiro is that he tends to become selfish when he's got more time. He tends to become selfish when he's asked to dribble players or go past players. And Sundowns lost a lot of those balls going forward, where Ribeiro was not quite the same player that he was because of that position change. Then you look up front to Ureinas. I want to highlight Ureinas because Ureinas for Mamelodi Sundowns has been doing this incredible thing, where him and the other guy in attack, it's usually 2 of them, would go wide, and because they go wide and come inside, they give the left and right centre backs and the right and left backs a lot of problems because there's that space in between them that they usually take advantage of. Now in this game, Reynas even found himself dropping into the 10 position. And when we look at what has happened with Bafana and him playing there, you can tell that he's not comfortable there and he's not as influential. In fact, if you look at the goal that Mamelodi Sundowns scored, it was the one time where Ribeiro was center. They won the ball back quickly, played it through the middle to Ribeiro. Ribeiro then had 2 options. Shalulile made a wide right run, and Reynas made a wide left run. And that space caused the left center back to the right center back to panic a little bit. He wasn't sure. He hesitated, and that's what gave them the goal in behind with that little bit of space. That is where Mamelodi Sundowns is good, and to not do the thing that you're good at, I think really harmed them this game. Sorry to interrupt the video that I'm sure you're enjoying, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that you guys have shown me and my Overthinking Football platform. I'm a one-man band that's doing all of this, and I really do enjoy the comments about how, you know, Supersport needs to come fetch me and SABC and all of that stuff. And I think it speaks to the quality of the content, but also the amount of effort that I put in. So I just wanted to say thank you. But the truth is that Abo Supersport and all of those guys, yes, we're competing with them, but it's a completely different place. The sponsors are looking for former players, and to be honest with you, running some of these things is getting so difficult, and things have changed at home. So financially, it's a whole different world. So I wanted to try something new and come to the overthinkers, the people who watch the content, and say it would be incredible if you guys could contribute monthly towards the platform, towards keeping my lights on, but also making sure that all of the crazy things that I want to do, that I want to take Supersport on with, I can actually do. And just for 20 Rand every month, I think that would be an incredible contribution if you can make it. It may sound like a little, but if we can get a lot of people behind it, then we'll be able to carry on doing what I do. I'll be able to carry on giving you the content and also expanding it, because we don't have shows like this, and us content creators need help from our audiences. So I just came here to ask you if you can. Here is the account number that you guys can use in order to contribute. And I think, yeah, I'd be very grateful if you would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Number 4. You know, I said in my pre-match preview and I said in my post-match review that the biggest strength of Magesi is that they know how to suffer. They take so much damage in games, so many shots get taken at them, so much space is freed up by the defense. Mamelodi Sundowns was finding a lot of space just in front of the defense where mokwena was taking his shots and taking his chances from there. It's not controlled. And the weird thing about being controlled is that you will concede. And while the way that they play is great for tournament football, knockout 1v1 mano y mano, it doesn't translate well to the league, because in the league there'll be teams that they'll score the one and keep quiet, or there'll be days in a 30 game season where you're not going to be able to counterattack and score. You're not going to be able to do those things, and maybe you should be trying to hold those games down to draws. So I think Magesi still allows way too many chances, and luckily that man Chipezeze is Chipezezing all over the place, but more on him a bit later. Number 3. I don't understand it. You have a final that is being played by the most recent NFD winners in their first season in the league. You could call them a David. You have the Goliath, which is Mamelodi Sundowns, a team that has dominated local football but hasn't necessarily done very well when we talk about domestic non-league trophies. So you have a coach in Umanqoba who was the last coach when he had head coach in his title, whether it was co or not, was the last coach to go and win a non-league trophy for Mamelodi Sundowns domestically. And then you have the other story that the two coaches have met before, and Larson has beaten Coach Manqoba at every single game, and he was the last one to inflict damage on Mamelodi Sundowns to that extent. You know, there was a 5-0 win back in Pitso's day. They also beat them in the finals, Bloem Celtic. You're also hosting this game in the Free State, which has been known for the most electric football fans that you can find in modern football here in the PSL. But we know nothing about the game. We don't see adverts. We don't see activations. I have a friend who stays in the Free State who said, if it wasn't for us following football, you wouldn't know that this game was happening. It got so bad that Mamelodi Sundowns, a couple of hours before the game was meant to start, was giving away tickets in Pretoria with the hopes to get some people who might be willing to get in their cars and drive down to the Free State to go watch this game. Carling has now seen 2 finals that didn't have the same buzz and impact that they should have had. And where last season we blamed it on TS Galaxy and Stellenbosch being in the final and maybe people not being up for that game, this time they had Mamelodi Sundowns. And while yes, you may talk about the support of Mamelodi Sundowns, but it's a cup final featuring Mamelodi Sundowns, featuring Magesi, featuring an urban legend, Chipezeze. But yet, we still saw a stadium that wasn't packed to the rafters. We still saw a struggle to sell tickets. We still saw a struggle to generate buzz. Carling Black Label and the PSL have to do a lot better with these games, with their broadcast partners and all of those type of things. I said it again, and I'll say it so many times. I've said it once, and I'll say it so many times in future. If you watched this game, and you saw it halftime, and you saw it full time, the Springboks were being advertised. Why can't we have the same type of buzz generated during our PSL games? Why don't we have the same type of buzz generated during Bafana games and those type of things? I think they're slacking. Number 2. Sundowns loses another final, guys. Another final. I believe it's 3 in a row now that Mamelodi Sundowns has lost with 2 different coaches. The struggle continues for Mamelodi Sundowns in terms of domestic trophies that are not the league. And we saw another performance from Sundowns where they were the clear favorites, and they just couldn't get the result over the line. And this has become a trend with Mamelodi Sundowns, going into very important games and not coming out with anything. And I know that that team is somewhat built for the long term, for the long run. It's not built for sprints, it's built for marathons. But at some point, you're going to have to start winning these sprints. At some point, you're going to have to start finding a way to win. And that leads me to my number one worst thing from this game. And it has to be
number one.
A pattern that is appearing with Mamelodi Sundowns. It's a pattern. If you watch Mamelodi Sundowns this season, and a lot of the time last season, in important games, you know that you beat Mamelodi Sundowns in the last few minutes. That is where they lose their concentration. That is where they lose the control. And what's scary for Mamelodi Sundowns is, last season, you had a coach who kept possession, who loved holding the ball, who loved denying the other team a chance to get that ball, who loved 1,000 passes. They were very measured. They didn't go into the box a lot. They didn't risk a lot. Yet they still lost to AS Tunis, very last minute. They still lost to Orlando Pirates, very last minute. And now you've gone and changed the system. And you've brought in somebody who's attacking. He loves attacking. He wants goals. He wants box entries. The club is playing faster. They're scoring more goals. But yet we sit, even in his reign, with a Gallants team that looked better late. With a Chiefs team in the first game that could have come back to make it 2-2 late. With a Royal AM that could have come back to make it 2-2 late. With a Polokwane City that managed to beat Mamelodi Sundowns literally, I believe it was the 82nd or 87th minute. So the problem has not been addressed fully with Mamelodi Sundowns, and they need to do some introspection to figure out what it is. Because I feel as though Sundowns threw the baby out with the bathwater. They made all of these big changes only not to address that final thing. Invincibles was lost in the final dying minutes versus Cape Town City. So Sundowns will need to look at that. We'll need to look at that and need to fix that, because it's going to be a big problem, knowing that now, look, MTN 8 final, you didn't make it because Stellenbosch knocked you out. You now have not made it into the Carling knockout. Well, you made it into the final, lost it late. You're still going to try and chase a Champions League where you've been losing them late. Think about Wydad coming back. Think about AS Tunis. It's a big problem that needs to be sorted out by Mamelodi Sundowns. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. Let's get into the good.
Number 5.
For all that I've said about Mamelodi Sundowns and their performance in terms of creating chances, and maybe how Reyners was out of position and Ribeiro was out of position, they still created so many chances. And if you can give Mamelodi Sundowns one thing, is that even when Reyners and Shalulile and Ribeiro are not firing properly, and Shalulile is crowding Reyners' space and Reyners doesn't know where to go, you can still count on Mokwena to take shots. You can still count on Mamelodi Sundowns to try and create spaces. So I think you have to give credit to Sundowns, and maybe you have to say that you can't necessarily blame Coach Manqoba for these losses. You can't say that Mamelodi Sundowns was outplayed and played off of the pitch. You just have to say that they didn't take their chances. But they're creating so many chances, and that has to be a good thing.
Number 4.
Again, Reyners didn't have the best of games. But when they finally did it once, they finally played the ball the way that they've been playing it over the past few weeks, what does he do? He scores. Top goal scorer of the Carling Black Label Knockout Cup, and I believe he's top 5 or top 3 of the top goal scorers in the league right now. He is turning out to be an incredible signing for Mamelodi Sundowns and for the type of football that Coach Manqoba is trying to play. The fact that he's found this vein of form where he's scoring match in, match out, league, cup. Hey, when you ask, he's there to score. I think that is incredible, especially knowing that South Africa struggles with our striking a little bit. We don't have strikers that take their chances like that can score at that rate. And it's always good to see another person put their hand up. A lot of people had said with Reyners leaving Stellenbosch that one of the big risks was going to be you get to Sundowns, you don't play. In fact, before the season started, you heard Manqoba speaking about him and saying that he's a Champions League player. But kudos to Reyners for picking up his hand and showing that he's threatening and dangerous in any game that you put him in. And he's going to be a tremendous asset for Mamelodi Sundowns this season.
Number 3.
I enjoy football teams that understand themselves. I enjoy football teams that say, you know what, guys, there's no need for us to come out and change the way we play for this Sundowns team. There's no need for us to try and be modern football and play the ball out, and build from the back and do all of those type of things. What Magesi showed is that if your plan is good enough and you do the work to find your plan and you stick to it and you look at your players and say, Chipezeze, you're not Williams. You're not. Mokone, you are not Kutsia. Abrams, you are not Dino, Dino van Rooyen. Up front, Chirambadare, you are not Matthews. Umakubu, you are not Shalulile. But we're going to sit down and plan. The one thing that I don't like about modern football is that people don't realize that you don't have to start playing the way that everybody plays in order to be successful. You don't need time in order to go win yourself a trophy. You don't need to buy every single quality player that you can find and point every season to other quality players. You can look at your team, you can make a plan, you can get good at that plan, and you can go out and win on any given Saturday. You can go out and win a game. Magesi could have been crying that they don't have the quality. They could have switched things up and went out to go and try play Mamelodi Sundowns at their game. Ask Chiefs what happened when they tried to do that. But they stuck to their plan. We're going to absorb as much damage as we can, and the 2 chances we're going to get are the 2 chances we're going to take. So thank you to Magesi for showing everybody else, especially in cups, that you don't need to go and be fancy and do weird fancy things. Go out there and win the game. Ari Coach Pitso, 4-2-3-1 transition, what, the things that everybody speaks about. Doesn't matter. Just go win the game. And Magesi showed that the punters don't matter. The probabilities to win don't matter. If you do your job, you can beat Mamelodi Sundowns and in a final.
Number 2.
And if there's one man who stood up and put up his hand, it has to be Chipezeze. 4 games, 4 men of the matches. Wild performances. He dragged Magesi through to where they are right now. And maybe it also highlights the value of people who know how to play their position. Can he build from the back? No. Can he start attacks? No. Can he do all of these new modern things? No. But if you're good at your job, you're good at your job. And Chipezeze comes out again to give a man of the match performance. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Oh no, they shot them directly at him. No, he was lucky and all of that. Once you are lucky for 4 games in a row in a tournament outside of the league, once you were lucky in all of those games, surely we need to start looking at you and saying this is your thing. And I think Elvis Chipezeze, another person who's won it for a second time, he won it with Baroka, I believe it was in 2018. My captain, raised his hand up, and I think Magesi have a really good player there, a really good player. Does it translate to the league like I said earlier? I don't know. But for now, they've done that job.
Number 1.
A newly promoted team goes and wins a trophy. And I know there's some trophies that have a history of this. TS Galaxy came close to doing that. Amadax did the similar thing. But Magesi won the NFD, came into the league and played. Came into the league and they've got a trophy. And this might be a rehashing of the point I made when you speak about sticking to your plan. But they showed that you don't need all of those things. Maybe you just need experience. Maybe you just need a goalkeeper that has won it before. I believe there's another player, I'm forgetting the name, was it Chirambadar? There's another player who's won it before against the run of play. You have a coach in Clinton Larson who has been in the wilderness, asking for jobs, trying to get jobs, trying to get back into the PSL. Took over Magesi January 2023. Won it, won the league. And now is in the PSL. And has got a trophy in his hands. Guys, football is not linear or easy or predictable. Just because you have the best players doesn't mean you're going to win or you're entitled to win. Just because you've been building a project for 4 or 5 years doesn't mean that that project is going to come out well for you in the 6th year. Just because you made what seems to be great decisions, those are all theory. I think every now and then you see a Magesi, you see a Leicester City, you see a Baroka, you see a Bloem Celtic. Go and show you that football is football, guys. Football is played on the pitch. It's not played in business plans. It's not played in saying nice things outside. It's not played in lacking quality or having to go get quality. In that Magesi team, I don't think there's anybody that other teams are crying to sign. But they made it work. And maybe the teams in the PSL have to take a look at themselves and really say, can we do something different? Can we come up with a plan? Can we make tactics for the squad that will work? I love what Magesi did because it's gone against every bit of conventional wisdom that there is out there. No, you can't win. A newly promoted team can't go win a trophy. That's not going to work. Oh, these coaches that have been around for ages don't know enough about modern football for them to come back and win trophies. They broke that. Oh, you need to go and sign 7, 8 new players and go source them from everywhere if you want to have a chance of winning something. That's changed. Oh no, Mamelodi Sundowns is just too strong. When you arrive in the game, you must just roll over because they're just too strong. How dare you believe that your team can beat Mamelodi Sundowns? If you listen to everybody who was speaking about this game, everybody was expecting a Sundowns win. But not only were they expecting a Sundowns win, they were expecting Sundowns to kill, to destroy Magesi, to embarrass Magesi. Boma 5-0, Boma 6-0. People were saying 7, bazo paramisa bo 7. Here comes little old Magesi and beats Mamelodi Sundowns. So I am so happy, and it's not that Sundowns lost, it's that I think this is a reminder that football is not played in textbooks, it's not played in highlights, it's not played in pre-match and post-match conferences, it's not played in previous results. Any given day, you can come out and win. And if you have a plan and you stick to it and you're confident with your plan, you got this. But that has been the good and the bad for the Carling Black Label Knockout Final. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys on the next one.